What if the very fabric of your life, your education, and your freedom hung by a thread? Newly enforced mobilization policies look less like protection and more like a chilling mechanism for control. As tensions rise, the government asserts that even those studying abroad must return when called, completely disregarding their aspirations. This, however, is a privilege not extended to the children of lawmakers themselves. The rules differ for the elite, don't they? Recent discussions among lawmakers reveal a startling truth. Local recruitment centers are filled not with battle-hardened veterans but with fit individuals ready to serve. One lawmaker openly voiced, ground forces should take notice of this practice. Yet, a perverse irony lingers. The system needs operatives for coercive tasks, and seasoned soldiers, scarred and weary, are deemed unsuitable for these roles. The facade of valor crumbles. Meanwhile, the government co-opts public figures into their narrative. A singer, Yevgeny Gallik, boldly condemned draft dodgers, calling for a blend of art and military service. However, this moral high ground irks many, given that these cultural icons are often shielded from the consequences faced by ordinary citizens. Beneath this theatrical morality, stories of corruption bloom. In Volyn, a priest, for $10,000, blessed draft dodgers and provided them de facto immunity from conscription. Cases like this are multiplying, laying bare a system rotten to its core, where protection is afforded not by law, but by money and connections. Viewer comments in response to government-imposed moments of silence at 9 a.m. highlight a growing discontent. Citizens notice the duality of their plight. While they are rounded up in buses, they are simultaneously coerced into kneeling, a dehumanizing experience. Some see this as systematic oppression, a conditioning for the living, all in the name of honoring the deceased. The consensus is clear: mobilization has transformed from a tool for national defense into a machinery of humiliation and control. The registries, tents, criminal charges, and curated performances by artists and clergy are but cogs in a vast engine functioning against the common man. The right to life and liberty is not granted by authority, it is inherent from birth. And this fundamental truth fuels resistance. As the storm clouds of mobilization gather over Ukraine, the people feel a growing urgency. Will they rise against this unseen tyranny, or will they succumb to the weight of oppression? As the government tightens their mobilization efforts, a wave of panic washes over the nation. The looming threat of fines for thousands of men aged 25 to 60 terrifies many. But is this truly a pressing reality, or are they merely using fear as a tool? In a surprising twist, men abroad were recently able to register for military service, leading to questions about bureaucratic efficiency. If registration could be done from afar, why were there barriers imposed in the first place? These contradictory actions reveal a chaotic system riddled with double standards. Reports indicate that approximately 20,000 men have been registered through documents acquired overseas. Suddenly, the government is launching an electronic military registration center. Initially, this may sound like a leap towards modernization, offering online military obligations. However, upon closer inspection, it becomes clear this is primarily a tactic to exert pressure on businesses and citizens alike. Officials bolster their rhetoric with absurd comparisons, implying that joining the armed forces is akin to entering a new frontier, seemingly more fiction than reality. In an even more alarming development, the authorities have opened doors to mobilize men aged over 60, framed as a logical extension of the recruitment process. Yet, this defies logic. Most men in their 40s or 50s already struggle with health issues, and those beyond 60 are often more concerned with retirement than military service. Instead of utilizing capable personnel within the armed forces, they seem to be fishing in an empty pond. Many are already struggling with health issues. Fishermen drilling a hole in a stadium and wondering where all the fish have gone. As discontent grows, the intention behind these policies becomes transparent. The goal isn't national defense but rather securing comfortable positions for officials and their kin. This harrowing truth raises urgent questions. Why prioritize useless mobilizations over viable strategies? The answer lies in the sad reality of a system that prioritizes connections and favors over the lives of ordinary people. The silent storm of dissent is growing. Are we witnessing the rebellion of a society that will no longer accept injustice? What would you do if you received a letter that could change your life forever? In just a month, a new wave of mobilization is set to begin, targeting every man between the ages of 25 and 60. The government is clearly preparing for unprecedented pressure tactics. This isn't just about lists and fines, it's about bizarre policies, like calling retired men up for service and setting up recruitment tents in city squares. Have we entered a realm of absurdity? As this chaotic storm approaches, let's delve into the implications. Thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands, find themselves on an unforgiving list, a name among those threatened by penalties. But don't panic. If someone's information was missing before, it won't simply reappear. The state can't swiftly fill in the gaps for each individual, no matter how hard they attempt. The reality is complex, especially for those on the register. What if they've moved? What if they're living abroad? Executing proper accountability becomes daunting when people don't reside at their registered addresses. The government knows this process isn't quick, and the notion that fines will be imposed en masse tomorrow? That's merely a scare tactic. Remember the passport debacle? Not long ago, consulates denied issuing passports to men of enlistment age, citing data discrepancies. Men were practically coerced into returning to Ukraine, only to find that the government now seems capable of entering data based on documents submitted overseas. Why the switch? It seems there's no logic behind these actions, serving only to highlight chaos and double standards. As we anticipate the start of this mobilization, questions emerge about the true intentions behind it. Is this really about national defense? Or is it a struggle for the system to survive at the expense of ordinary people? Our exploration will reveal more, including civil unrest, the stark cynicism of politicians, and how even entertainment celebrities preach while living by different rules. Get ready. Tomorrow's mobilization is not what you think. It's becoming clear that the aim isn't to protect the country, it's about maintaining a grip on power through ordinary lives. Let's uncover the reality behind this mobilization, revealing the layers of deception and the emotional turmoil it causes for many in society. As we peel back the curtain, expect the unexpected, because the truth can be shocking. As the government tightens its grip, one shocking fact emerges: fines will be handed out indiscriminately, but it's more of a scare tactic than a reality. Recently, men of conscription age faced passport denials at consulates, mirroring a troubling pattern of artificial barriers. Citizens were pressured into returning, only to find that the databases used to register military conscripts were being updated from abroad. Why create obstacles when they could input data seamlessly? The answer reveals a disconcerting truth: chaos and double standards reign. Reports suggest that around 20,000 individuals were registered using papers submitted from overseas, exposing a system riddled with inconsistency. The next proposed innovation, touted as a breakthrough, introduces electronic military recruitment centers and even a so-called cosmic force. Initially, it sounds like a progressive leap into digitalization, promising an online portal for citizens to fulfill military obligations. But peel back the layers, and it becomes evident that it's mainly a strategy to exert pressure on entrepreneurs and maintain control over the populace. Officials add absurd comparisons in their announcements, claiming that a door to space warfare is opening. Really? The odds of that happening are as likely as robotic armies waging war on behalf of Ukraine, a mere illusion crafted by those in power. Even more alarming is the notion of mobilizing pensioners, with recruitment centers now accepting men over 60. Presented as a logical progression, it raises eyebrows among rational thinkers. At 40 or 50, and many are already struggling with health issues. At 60, discussions revolve around retirement and illness rather than military readiness. Instead of mobilizing well-trained personnel from law enforcement, the government seems intent on targeting those who are already vulnerable. This situation recalls a familiar joke, like a fisherman drilling a hole in a stadium complaining there are no fish. The absurdity is palpable, showcasing a system more focused on maintaining its own ends than on genuine defense. The stakes are high, and the consequences of these policies will reverberate through society. Can a nation thrive under such oppressive measures? As tensions rise in the streets, voices of dissent grow louder, challenging a system that seems intent on chaos rather than clarity. What will the future hold for those caught in the crossfire? What if a single letter had the power to alter your future forever? In just weeks, a looming wave of mobilization will sweep through, targeting every man aged 25 to 60. The government is gearing up to unleash unprecedented control tactics. This is not merely about lists and penalties, it plunges into a realm of the absurd, calling upon retirees and setting army recruitment tents amidst bustling city squares. Have we truly entered a bizarre new reality? As this storm brews, thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands, are now on a menacing list, facing risks of fines. But don't worry just yet. If someone's data was previously absent, it won't magically appear overnight. The government's ability to fill every hole in their records is limited. And what happens if someone has moved? What if they're living abroad? Enforcing responsibility becomes an increasingly sophisticated puzzle. The government is aware that this process takes time, and claims that fines will rain down imminently. Just a tactic to instill fear. Do you recall the passport fiasco? Consulates once flatly denied passports to men in the draft age due to data inconsistencies. Men were almost forcibly dragged back to Ukraine, only to learn that now, the government has the means to input data from overseas documents. Why such inconsistency? It's devoid of logic, merely a showcase of chaos and double standards. As we brace for what this mobilization truly signifies, we're compelled to question its actual purpose. Is this genuinely about national defense, or is it the government's desperate bid to cling to power at the expense of everyday lives? Our investigation will dive deeper, uncovering civil unrest, the chilling indifference of politicians, and the irony of celebrities lecturing others while living under different rules. Prepare yourself, tomorrow's mobilization isn't what it seems. It's becoming painfully clear that the intent isn't about safeguarding the nation but rather consolidating control over ordinary citizens. We aim to unveil the truth behind this mobilization, peeling back layers of deception that bring emotional conflict to so many in society. Prepare for the unexpected, because the reality is nothing short of shocking. Do you think the absurdity of calling retirees back for service is where the madness ends? We'll reveal startling policies as we move to the next chapter, where recruitment tents are not just barriers to enlistment but symbols of coercive tactics that leave many questioning their very rights. Will chaos spill into the streets as citizens rise against what they see as an unjust system? Stay tuned, the story is just unfolding.